All right. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Rebecca. I'm from Adapt CrossFit, and I am here this morning actually having a good old chat with Neil Shepherd from Inner Synergy. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me along.
No, it's been good. We're chatting all things mindfulness this morning,
Hmm.
and I guess we've Ben and I and the Adapt crew have worked with you previously, and done like a little mindfulness 101 with you, and yeah, we found it was just a bit of an eye opener, and we had some tools and things to work on mindfulness and also gratitude and things. So I guess I wanted to explore that with you today.
Hmm.
But Neil, like tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right. Well, basically, I come from the corporate background in air traffic control, and I left that and started my own business called Inner Synergy, and it's my passion. I just love, love, love doing this, and I've been doing it professionally now for about 4 years. uh, but been practicing and learning for about 20. So it's been that thing that's, you love doing. So, yeah, I've been doing, working with a company called Mindfulness Works. I do their public courses every month, a 4-week course, and I run my own courses. I'm a certified heart math, resilience and stress management coach,
Yeah.
and I use heart rate variability and biofeedback stuff, and it's fun. So yeah, that's my background.
Yeah, and so I love that, it's something that you've been passionate about. You've been doing it for, like you said, 20 years, and then
Mm.
you've sort of shifted your lifestyle into that you get to actually do what you're passionate about and
Ab-
share that with others.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I didn't realize is how much time I put into doing a job that I kind of liked, but I didn't love.
Yeah.
And so I was amazed how much more work it is doing that. So when I do this sort of work, it's not hard. I can work long hours, and it's not a bother
Mm.
because there's that passion. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the thing I really wanted to cover today was, obviously we're in a very unusual situation at the moment, just with everyone being at home and restrictions and things. And I guess one of my biggest thing is people's sort of mental health and well-being. And um, I'm just keen to sort of hear from you things that we could do while at home, to, I guess, help with that and mindfulness, and yeah, sort of expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Look, it's one of those things that I say to people in my classes. It's an amazing tool and technique and skill to
Mm,
actually develop, but it's not a magic wand.
mm,
So if you've got trauma, go and see a therapist, get all that sort of stuff. But it's been proven now. There's so many big companies like I've worked with ANU. I've worked with a lot of government departments. I've just done a 6-week course with ACT government
yeah,
on to help people manage stress and resilience.
mm,
So it's an amazing skill. And the thing that most people don't realize is that resilience doesn't come naturally, it's something you learn.
mm.
So one of the things that I'd like to help you with is give you a few top tips. What about a few top tips?
That
Does
sounds
that
good.
sound
Neil's top
okay?
tips.
Number one, the
Yeah.
number one top tip is that everything starts with awareness. Now, what do I mean by that? Most of us are running around on autopilot, meaning we're just going through the motions. We're on routine, we're in habit, we're doing the same things we did yesterday or the day before.
Mm,
95% of what we do is subconscious.
mm,
Okay, so we've got to get off autopilot. And so the opposite of mindfulness is being on autopilot, just going through the motions. And so, number one top tip is grow awareness. Okay, what do I mean by that? Do you know how many thoughts we have a day? They believe it or not, they did studies on this.
I couldn't even imagine it would be.
It's it's somewhere, depending on which study you look at, it's somewhere between 60 and 70,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many of those thoughts are beneficial? How many of those thoughts are wasteful? Right now, when I ask my class, they go, "Well, maybe 90% wasteful." So watch for that. I used to wear a rubber band on my hand, and if I try and catch wasteful thoughts, click. And why do you do that? Because it's just a habit. How the neuroscience behind all this is, the more you think about something, the more you worry, the more you get angry, the more often you do something, it creates neural pathways. And so you become really good at it. So you've got to catch it and change that habit. So I've got, I'll send you my link to my free meditations. Uh, Grow awareness by doing a daily practice, anywhere from a couple of minutes to maybe 15 minutes, whatever time you've got. But if you can grow that habit of sitting down and getting used to just being. And one of the masters, John Kabat-Zinn, he's a doctor. He said, mindfulness is simply about being able to focus on one thing for an extended period of time. And why is that important? Well, you and I know, Rebecca, that life is so busy. There's so many distractions. There's the phone always going. There's emails. There's endless sort of things we've got to do. And we've learnt to become really distractible. So the number one tip is grow awareness so that you can see who you're being versus who you want to be.
Mm,
Okay. Number two quick tip. Have you heard of Brendan Burchard at all?
I have.
He talks about high performance people.
Yep.
And I just want to share this one tip of his. He says high performance people have a break every 52 minutes.
52 minutes.
52, yes. I'm sure, maybe 50, 55. This
Yeah.
is the thing that I find with mindfulness. People take it too seriously. It's got to have a bit of humor,
Yeah.
a bit of simplicity,
Yeah.
curiosity, openness, receptiveness.
Mm.
It's about doing things in your life that's beneficial, not
Mm.
just because it's a duty. But yeah, Brendan Burchard says, have a break every 52 minutes. And have I got an idea?
Mm.
When I did the Google Search Inside Yourself program, this is a program that went through all of Google and it's going through China and all sorts of companies now. Why? Because it works. And they talk about a whole bunch of things, but one of their techniques is called 3 breaths. Okay. So this is a 2-minute practice.
Mm.
So every 52 minutes you could do it, or whatever practice you want. But it goes something like this. You just take 3 very conscious breaths. So the first breath, you're very aware. Just a full cycle in, 1 full breath in, slightly deeper, slightly slower. That's number 1. Number 2, you consciously, actively let your body relax. We hold a lot of tension in our neck, our jaw, all over our body, our shoulders. Consciously let that go. Release tension. And the third breath is, as you're taking the breath, ask yourself, what is important right now? And so Carlsberg did a brewery, did a study, an academic study, because they implemented this throughout the whole organization. And they found that it reduced meeting times by something like 30%.
Wow.
So, and what it is, the science behind it is you're shifting and resetting your mindset. It's
Mm.
fairly simple. So it's rather what a lot of people do when they get stressed, they push on, they shallow chest breathe, get the breath right, get the
Mm.
focus right. And there's all sorts of science that we could talk about another time, but yeah, that's number 2. And number 3 is, and this is hard to understand, but being okay when you're not okay.
Yep.
Accepting that we have bad days and
Mm.
that maybe 100%, we're not going to be 100%. We just do the best we can. But it's important to accept what is, because it's resistance that we do. It's when we get into resistance that really messes us up. Anyway, there's lots of things like do a gratitude journal.
Mm.
Don't be a multitasker. Are you a multitasker?
I try not to be. Catch myself doing that, but I think that's getting caught up in, the busy, like you said.
Yeah,
And I do have to catch myself trying to set aside this moment is for this project.
absolutely. Well, Harvard did a study because they know multitasking isn't terribly effective,
Mm,
but they didn't know why people do it. And they did a study, and the study came back with the results that people feel that they're being really effective and efficient when they multitask. And the more you multitask, the more you want to do it. So the idea is just notice it. And this is where the awareness comes in.
yeah.
If you don't have awareness, you're just busily doing the same thing on autopilot,
Mm,
and you're just running subconscious programs.
mm,
So, but yeah, slow down to speed up, befriend stress. You
mm.
know, but I've got a little cartoon that I show in my classes, and it shows there's a. Have you seen the one where there's a kid on the podium and he's the winner, and there's the kid that's come third, and the kid that's come third is yeah, and the kid that's number one's look at him like he's really unhappy that the third person is more happy. What does that say? Stress perception. You know, our perception of a situation can cause us a lot of stress.
Mm.
So
I mean, those three, I know you're saying you feel like that they were very three simple things, but they're, oh man, like if we could just nail those three things.
yeah.
Even just when you were talking about, so you're saying become aware of, what you're doing.
Hmm.
Two was that little, I guess, taking regular breaks and then trying to find a moment in the day to go. I liked your three breaths, because even as you were speaking it through, I'm like, oh, okay, yes, I am holding a bit of tension. Just relax, and it does bring in that awareness, just by focusing back on that breath. And then step number three was quickly.
Being okay, not being okay.
That's right. That's right. I think sometimes we try and forge on, you know, and feel like if we, acknowledge that we're not okay, then we failed somehow. But
Exactly.
yeah, so I think we don't always have it right, and we're not always going to have great days. And yeah, like you said, that's okay to have those days. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to add to that, one when I talked about growing the awareness, the
Yeah.
how is doing a formal practice if you can. And
Yeah.
just to share, I've been doing it a long time, and I've learned whenever I don't feel like doing it is when I know I need it.
Mm.
So I do that, and an informal practice. The informal practice is simple things like brushing your teeth with a different hand. And what
Ooh.
happens is you change. You're changing neural pathways, and all of a sudden you're very aware. You're going,
Mm.
oh, this feels odd.
It takes you
Drive,
on autopilot.
yeah, drive a different way. Do things a different way. And that gets you off autopilot. And
Mm.
the idea is just trying to be more present, because if you, what a lot of us do, I don't know, I say this in my courses, who here has their shower and they've got all their 9 o'clock meeting in the shower with them, talking to them and, going through how the meeting's going to go. Be in the shower, feel the water, feel the texture of the skin. Just be really present. And it's hard to do because
Mm.
our mind wants to dart off. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed, so Neil, you have free meditations, because I have actually gone through a few of them. How do our guys get to that? And I did want to bring up something that I noticed in one of those meditations. You mentioned gratitude
Yeah.
and how that can will affect us. And you actually said how it can affect your um, thought base around fear. Can you sort of expand on that briefly?
Yeah, sure. It's a funny one. It's when we can practice gratitude, it helps us build a whole bunch of things. It helps us build optimism and self-esteem. It helps grow empathy. Uh, we get a sense of selflessness. We can be more authentic when we practice gratitude. And how does that work? Well, in the brain, from a neuroscience perspective, it enhances our dopamine and serotonin transmitters, okay, neurotransmitters. And what that does, that helps us be happier when we can get into gratitude. They say it's impossible to be in fear and gratitude at the same time. So, and the more we do it, the more neural structures are created in the brain. It's like all things that we do. The things we do the most, if
Mm.
we get upset a lot, we get really good at it. And so it helps us release toxic emotions like fear and anxiety. And the hippocampus part of the brain and the amygdala part of the brain uh, physically actually reduces when you can practice mindfulness, get into gratitude. And one of the challenges with this conversation is mindfulness is so many things, and it's not just about knowing it, it's absolutely about doing it. But one of the things I mentioned earlier, I'm a heart math coach, resilience coach,
Yeah.
and they talk about uh, the matrix of the hormones. And at one extreme, we've got the stress hormones of cortisol and adrenaline coursing through our bodies, which a lot of us do all the time without even knowing. At the other extreme, it's HPA, which is the feel good hormones. So when you're happier and when you're in gratitude, you're more in those hormones rather than the stress hormones. And there's a saying that happiness doesn't bring gratitude, but gratitude helps us get into happiness.
Mm.
So, yeah. Oh, the other thing is, personally, I set intentions, not expectations. This
Okay.
was a really big one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, you mentioned Brendan Burchard,
Yep.
and he has a journal. I think the High Performance Journal.
Yep.
And I noticed in there, because Ben and I have those, he has, the three things that you were grateful for every day as part of a daily, writing down those things. And I found, they don't have to be major things. It could be, I loved my coffee this morning, or it could have been, it doesn't have to be, or my family and my business. It doesn't have to be the major things. It can be the sun on my face when I went for a walk this morning. It really turns into the really small things that add up to, I guess, when you're trying to come up with three new things every day, it does actually bring some of that awareness back as well into things that
Mhm.
yeah, that you have in your life that bring you joy, I guess.
Absolutely. And like another thing that was that is really helpful for people if they're struggling with that is do journaling. I didn't particularly wasn't particularly interested, and I had to do it in as part of a workshop, and I loved it. It's so cathartic. And the idea is you just, for those that don't know, you just get a pen and a paper, and it's not about thought. It's about having a topic and then just writing
Mm,
endlessly, but without thoughts. Don't, if you're stopping to think about it, you're in thought.
mm,
And what three questions you could ask: what do I love about my life? And just write. What do I love about my life? What are my challenges? Just start writing. And then things I really enjoy are.
mm.
And from that, you can get into gratitude. I've also got an app that I don't use much, but it's called Grid Diary, and
Yeah,
it's really good for gratitude. You write, what's something I did for a friend today? Did I contact my family? A bunch of questions like that, and you just fill out the ones you want, and
yeah.
that makes it easier.
Mm, mm. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for, I guess, taking the time to chat with me this morning. Is there anything else you want to finish with? I know you do run, like we sort of mentioned, mindfulness courses. You did
Yep.
have one coming up that we've had to postpone.
Yeah.
So yeah, if someone wants to delve in a bit more, we can go and have a look at your online stuff, and then you do have a course as well.
Yeah, well, as soon as things settle down, I was
Yeah,
going to do it as an online offering, but I just live that lot. I like the live, prefer the live interaction, but it's a 5 week course. I do a 4 week intro course,
yeah,
but a lot of people have said, look, we want to go deeper. We want to go much deeper. So I've developed a 5 week course, so it's longer, as
yeah.
in it's an hour and a half session, and the idea is, even as a beginner, you can still do it, but the idea is we're going deeper. So we're going to go into mindfulness, emotional intelligence, neuroscience, personal leadership, resilience, stress management. What is stress? How do you counter it? What are things, tips and hints that you can do at work and at home
Mm,
to build that personal leadership? And really what it's about, it's three big things. It's building awareness, it's understanding the mind, which I'll cover off in a lot of detail in this course, and it's building acceptance, the acceptance of what is. Because quite often we get so upset about the way things should be rather than accepting the way it is, at least until you can change it. So, yeah, so that's a course I'll be doing. Uh, yeah, and I'm really looking forward to it because, like I said, I just love doing this work, and I've just seen people change, Rebecca.
Mm,
I've had people with PTSD that, um, it just to a certain extent, it helps people get out of their own way,
yeah.
and it helps people not be pushed around by their environment so much, which is what people, places, situations.
Yeah.
And when you can do that, that is absolutely liberating. So, but anyway, I'm a bit of a waffler, so thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you. And yeah, we'll have to. I think I'd love to expand a little bit more on another, you know, another time.
Happy to.
Yeah,
Happy to.
wonderful.
Okay,
All
thanks,
right.
Rebecca.
Thank you, Neil.
Take care. Bye.